Hi. I will be answering some of the preparatory assignment questions for the speaking part. So let's begin. What can be called a global issue? Can you name any? Well, I think like everybody has been thinking about this now, and I think the most important issue that we have right now is the environment and global warming, and it sounds really cliche, but we actually can't really focus on something else until we know we actually have a future to hold on to and a planet to live in. So I think that's the most important issue right now. And like, if there is any conflict about any issue, it's probably gonna be about this one: water, natural resources, and all that kind of subjects. Mm. What do you think are the three most serious issues in the world our country is facing at the moment? Well, as I said before, mainly like the environment, because I think that it's the center that holds us alive, so there can't be really any conflict if there isn't like an environment, a safe environment to live in. Other from that, poverty I think is really um, um, a very important issue to attend, because we're in the 21st century and we've already gone to the moon, but there's still people that starve to death. There's still children that don't get the food or the education or the house, the water that they deserve, that they were born with the right to live with. So I think that's also really sad and really frustrating, because like, to know you have all these things to, I don't know, take advantage of, and like half of the population of the world doesn't, it just blows my mind. Well, that's one. The other one, migration, because I mean, in many countries, like the situation like Venezuela, or like in the Middle East, in Afghanistan, Israel, and all of that, well, people have to leave their country and go to a new one where they don't know, and they have to start from zero, and that also generates poverty. So migration, I think that would also be a very difficult aspect right now. Why do you think so many people become involved in crime? Is there a way to prevent them from doing it? Well, I think it's easy to answer this because, well, due to the fact the country we live in is like full of crime. So I think it's mostly for necessity. Like, it's frustrating to see all these people that have all that you want and that you deserve, and they already have it. So like, you're very desperate to have it also, and you have to find like the short way to do it, you know. And well, crime, I mean, of course it's bad, it's wrong, but it does give like, I don't know, monetary results in a short term. So like, people have rage towards society, and like, I don't know, think that this is an option and or a shortcut to success. And I think the only way to stop crime is basically by giving like more opportunities, and like um, letting people know that crime or illegal actions are not the only way to money, which is often confused with success. So yeah. Do you think drug dealing and prostitution should be legal? What would change? I think drug dealing shouldn't be legal, basically because you're like legalizing something that harms people. And although people say that they have their own free will to do what they want with their lives, well, as, I don't know, the government, or as like high um responsible people, it's their duty to also help people know what it's good and bad for them, like for some reason they were chosen to guide the whole community or the whole society. Nevertheless, for prostitution, I actually do think it should be illegal. It's a very rare opinion, but I think first of all, it has to be like in done by certain parameters. Like it should be illegal for minors. That totally, and like I think it should be seen as an actual profession since it's one of the oldest jobs, and usually you think of prostitution and you think of females and like very contaminated. The idea of prostitution is very contaminated. There's also men prostitutes, and I think if the person is doing it because it's what it actually it's what he or she actually wants to do, then I think it should be considered as an equal job. I think the person should be able to decide whether or not they're denigrating their self. So yeah, I mean, I would like it to be legal, but just for it to be seen as a, like for the taboo to be taken away, you know. What social problems is this country facing now? Can anything be done about them? Well, migration is one social problem, and really, of course, there's some things that we can do about it, but most of all, it's like what the idea of Colombians have towards the people the idea of Colombians have towards the people migrating, because like the social inequality is already very high and the job opportunities is very rare, and so we have more people coming in. The situation is getting worse. The demands are like very high, and the offer is very low. So I think that's one of the problems. The other one is like poverty, because really we live in a bubble, and more than half of the population is living in extreme poverty, and we just ignore it. And we ignore it, and we don't do something about it, and they think that they don't have the right to have what other people have, and actually we all have the right to go towards success. So I think that's very messed up right now in Colombia. What wars and conflicts are going on in the world? What are their causes? Do you think such problems can be solved peacefully? Well, as I know right now, there is a huge war in the Middle East, and basically it's because, like, from my point of view, because people don't tolerate what's different from them, and I think this is what is going to maybe end the world, because it has happened throughout history that we do not tolerate others and their ideas and their perceptions of the world. So I think it can be solved peacefully, but I think it's very difficult to do it because everyone has to be very open-minded. So at least in this point we can, because like people from other generations simply don't understand that term. So as we change education and like people from this generation are born, well, this may change, but right now it can't, because people all like still have a very antique mind. Do you know any countries where human rights are violated? In what way? In Middle East countries, people are not allowed to say what they think, they're not allowed to do what they want to, and I understand when it harms others, but when it just comes to your own happiness, it's just very sad that they actually don't let them do this. How does the growth in population affect the environment? Well, as I said earlier before, the demand is very high, the offer is very low, and most of the resources in the world are limited resources. So in some way, we can't expect that they're going to be there forever. And well, yeah, we're practically like invading the planet and consuming it without giving it in return something. So we can't expect it to for it to sustain us forever. So yeah, that's what I think. Thank you.